Hey everyone, I'm Twan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to share with you some tips that will help you be a better sniper in Battlefield 5. So these tips I've learned over time either from playing past Battlefields or putting hours into the new one. And the Recon class can be daunting for new players because it's the only one that doesn't really have an automatic gun, or it definitely doesn't, but it can also be challenging for old players because I feel like between every title the sniping mechanics change just a little bit, and it's nice to learn some of the nuances of playing in the new game. But before I get into all that, be sure to leave a like and sub to my channel. It really helped me out. So my first tip is to be crafty. And you don't really have to do it so much on other classes, but with Recons, because of the way that you kind of give yourself away when you shoot, it's a really smart idea after one or two shots to change locations. And so this could be either within a building, like changing windows or switching hills, etc. But if you've ever seen the movie Enemy at the Gates, it's a great example of the different kinds of games that snipers play with the people that they're targeting. And it's also, if you lose a sniper battle, it's a really good idea to not go back to the same spot. Because if they got you once, odds are they're looking there and they'll get you again. So you have to be craftier than that and find a new position to get the drop on your enemy. Second is to use your spotting scope. Now, the spotting scope was also in Battlefield 1, but it didn't play as big a role because in that game you still had 3D spotting. And what that was is where anyone, whether you assault, recon, support, or I guess the classes are different in that one, but no matter what class you were, you could spot enemies and they would show up with that little icon directly above their head, no matter what class you were playing as. And so in Battlefield 5, that's actually been taken out to where it's an area spot and it's very general. And Recon players are now the only ones with the ability to do 3D spotting, save for maybe supports who, when you suppress someone, can spot them. But with your spotting scope, you can spot enemies for your whole team, and not only that, but you can also check out an entire area without giving your location away. Because with your main rifle scope, you actually give a spotting glare. Not a spotting glare, but a scope glare away, and it reveals your location, which is another reason that you should also relocate from time to time. But also from those things, it's also a great way to rack up really easy points, because for every enemy that gets killed that you spot, you get points back for that. Third, when you're shooting, be quick, but don't be rushed. And that may sound like a paradox, but it's really not, because when you think about it, if you're just trying to shoot as fast as you possibly can, odds are you're probably not going to hit anyone. But if you're keeping in mind that, I got to be quick, I want to get off maybe 2 or 3 shots in this spot and relocate, you can get some accurate shots in a short amount of time, but you'll still take your time to, hit your targets or maybe figure out the distance on your shots. So there are a few different ways to go about being quick, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you just want to shoot as fast as you possibly can, because with the sniper class, you can't spray like maybe you could with support or assault, or even medic now in this game with the hip fire. But you have to be more precise, you have to be accurate, but you want to be quick about doing it. And number 4 would be, don't be that Recon player. And so when you think of the stereotypical noob Recon player, I'm sure there are a couple things that come to mind. And one of the first ones that I know really always pisses people off when they're trying to play in a team-based game like Battlefield is when Recon players are so far removed from the battle that they're no use to the team. And so my personal guidelines are to be, if you're within about 250 meters of your objective and of your teammates and what they're attacking, then you're okay. Because at that range, you can still do damage. Sometimes you can still get those headshots, even though it's a little bit trickier on moving targets. But especially anything further than that, you're going to be totally useless to your team. So it's better, I think, like the real nice sweet spot is probably in from like 100 to 150 meters, because it's far enough where the small arms shooters can't really hit you, but with your rifle you can still, with a 6x scope, you can still do a lot of damage, and you can see people, and it's not too hard to connect your shots. Also, when after you support your team from range, you want to move in to help finish the capture, because along those same lines, if you're too far back, you can't really support your team in any meaningful way. But what I really like to do is I'll support my team until the capture gets about halfway to being capped by us, and then I move in to help finish the capture. Because at that point, you'd be of more use to your team if you were in a building on the objective with your pistol out than you would be way far removed behind it, because the enemy reinforcements would be coming in from the opposite side, and it's usually a lot harder to see it from your original starting position. And another part of this same don't be that recon player is use your pistol when you're in close quarters and also to finish off people that you've tagged in a little bit closer range. Because a lot of times you'll see recons trying to use their sniper in inside a building. First of all, recon is already harder to hit shots than the other classes. Second of all, if you try to do it in close quarters with a 6x scope, it's going to be nearly impossible. You can do it sometimes, but a lot of times you're just going to end up missing your shots and get wrecked. So use your pistol in close quarters because you'll be a lot more useful. And for me in Battlefield 5, one that I really like is not the Liberator. It's the British revolver. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's a great pistol, and you can usually outclass people in close quarters if you just keep your wits about you and you land your shots. And it's also really nice because that kind of pistol, and the other ones I suppose as well, the hip fire is really nice. So especially in close quarters, you can do some work. And along those lines, when I'm talking about moving in from range, using your pistol in close quarters, you want to be aggressive. Don't be afraid of the other classes just because that you're at a little bit of a disadvantage from having a semi-auto or a bolt-action sniper. Because for example, if you hit your first shot with your sniper and you immediately follow up with your pistol, a lot of times it's a really easy kill. So don't be afraid of other classes. You just have to be a little bit craftier, like in tip 1. Just to get those kills. It's a little bit more work, but it's a lot of fun as well. And finally, my fifth and final tip is use enemy recons for practice. A lot of times when you're either playing Conquest or whatever mode, you'll see enemy scopes and you'll get into a little sniper duel with the opposing recon. If you find that you keep losing these battles, try to learn something from them. And so after, maybe you won't understand in your first time, but after a few games, when you start seeing what other recon players are doing, try to pick up on what they're doing, because if you pay attention to where they are, you can pick up on some great hiding spots, learn some different guns that might be more beneficial, some of them do more or less damage, and also you can learn different equipment combos that can really help. For example, say a sniper kills you, you want to go up close and try to get him, and you get killed by an S-mine, a bouncing Betty. There are different equipment combos that work better with some spots as opposed to others. And so if you just pay attention to what enemy recons are doing, you can learn a lot purely by doing that. And then once you start to play with those, then you develop your own style and the own way that works for you. So those are my 5 tips to be a better recon in Battlefield 5. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you have anything to add, please comment below, because I know everyone has different ways to play Recon and whatever their favorite class may be. I should also mention that tomorrow, March 25th, I'll be doing a live stream because Battlefield Firestorm is coming out. And I think this is a really big step for the franchise. I hope they do a really good job with it. From what I've seen, it looks like a lot of fun. But anyways, I'll be live streaming that, so tune in if you're interested. If you want to know when I'm starting, I'll be putting that up on my Twitter, and you can also see it on Twitch. I'll probably end up doing a live stream on both Twitch and YouTube, but make sure to tune in so you can see it there.